Hey everybody, what's going on? This is BSP, and today I want to talk about information. How information is the real power here in Japan. This subject came up because my wife and I were talking about this morning, and we talk about this a lot actually, about how this happens to come up, as far as like what type of information should I give out and shouldn't I give out. And the reason why this came up today is because we're getting ready to go on vacation tomorrow, on a long vacation actually, for almost 2 weeks or whatever, to Hokkaido, flying up. And so my thing is, I know that once a lot of people see me on the planes and see me out with my family of four, having a good time, eating at nice places and enjoying ourselves, going to different events that we like, the question is going to come out eventually from a curious Japanese guy or woman about my job. They're going to want to know what I do because they're seeing me out there. So before I get into all of that, I just want to start off with this. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my background until people get familiar with, what I do, how I came about. So I've been living here in Japan over 11 years now. This is the third time I'm living in Japan. I'm not going to leave this time because I've put myself in a situation where I don't have to worry about making a living, and I live well. So. And you see my mark, BSP is living well in Japan, because we are living well in Japan. My wife and my two kids are. And so that's something on me. Now, let me tell you why the information thing came up. Like I said, my wife and I always talk about it. But then I was in Yokohama a few weeks ago. Actually, the beginning of this month, I was eating at a place in Yokohama. At Yokohama Harbor, and I was having a good time. Nice lunch. I sat down, and this waitress came up to me, and I was going to order lunch, and at this nice little pasta place, and there was a couple sitting next to me. They were having beers, and it was hot as heck outside. I wanted a nice lunch, and I wanted a nice drink with my lunch. So I asked the waitress, I said, hey, because, like I said, in Japan, wherever we go, we like to try the local things, right? Like local drinks, local beers, local foods, whatever they have. We just want to try locals, right? So I asked the waitress, I said, hey, excuse me, but is there a local beer here at the restaurant that I can get? And she said no. No, she didn't say no, because I stand corrected. She did not say no, because they don't say no in Japan. They rarely say no. She said, let me check. See, because Japan is more of a yes but country, right? Not a no. America's a direct no, but Japanese is yes but. So what happened? She went back to check. And as she went to check, the couple next to me, the guy who was probably curious about me anyway, about why I was there, he had said, hey, why don't you try one of these two beers? And I looked at the beer that him and his girlfriend was drinking. I mean, I'm assuming that was his girlfriend. The way it probably is. Japanese guys don't just take girls out for lunch if they're not the girlfriend. And they didn't have any work clothes on. And so I looked at the two beers and I said, you know what? I said, I like her beer. So I chose her beer. So when the waitress came back, of course, I ordered the beer and everything like that. And I ordered my lunch. I ate my lunch. Sat there nicely, I didn't say anything. The couple didn't say anything to me because they was in the middle of conversation. I don't get involved in people's conversations anyway. And then when I stood up to leave, the first question out of the guy's mouth was, what's your job? What do you do? And now at that time, I was still kind of uncomfortable as to how to answer that without giving away too much information. I told the guy at that time, well, I just live off my investments. That's what I do, right? And he was like, wow, that's cool. That's so cool. You can do that. And I said, yeah, you should do the same. And I left. Well, when you live in Japan, as long as I've lived in Japan, and when you're trying to get adjusted to being back in Japan like I am, you tend to think that when you first get here that you have to overindulge yourself in Japanese society. And overindulging yourself means that you are opening yourself up more, to the point that where you wouldn't even open yourself up in your own country with that type of information that you're giving out. So I went back and forth with that, and I finally talked to my wife about it today. I said, hey, look, babe, what is the right approach when someone's, because I know, like I said, I'm assuming a lot of people are going to ask me when they see me running around with my family, eating and living good up there in Hokkaido. A lot of people are going to ask me, hey, what is it that you do? And my wife's, she's a college-educated woman, and she's very intelligent. She says, she thought about it for a minute. She said, you know what, the best thing to do is just to say, "Ie, daijoubu desu." It means it's okay. No, it's okay, thank you, in a polite way. Because my question to her was, how am I going to be able to answer or not answer in a polite way? In other words, I don't want to give away that information, because I'm at the stage in my life here in Japan where I am no longer feeling like I need to impress or to indulge in people's lives that I don't even know about, right? But I want to say something else about that though. So I was at my son's soccer practice yesterday, and they have all kind of grades. My son's a 6th grader. They have 4th, 5th grade, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. They practice, the same facility. And so this guy walks in, and we both have shaved heads, right? And so I was just trying to start a conversation with, I think he was like a 4th or 5th grade parent. We usually only talk to the 6th grade parents, because we talked to them when we were in 5th grade parents, right? So, because we all know, we're familiar with each other. I'm not going to say that they're our friends. We just say that we're familiar with each other, right? So I went ahead and I just said, hey, I looked at this, it was really hot. It was like 35 degrees Celsius in the gym. And I just went like this and said, hey, I said, oh, we got low maintenance. I just tried to use the word low maintenance, because usually Japanese will understand when you say low maintenance. He didn't understand me. And then I said, Suzushi, I said, it's kind of cool, man. He said, yeah, a little bit. And then that was the end of the conversation. There was nothing else to be said. He didn't say anything else to me. I was trying to be friendly, of course. And that was when I realized this morning when I woke up, I told my wife about the incident, and that's I remember now. That's how we got on the subject of information. And I told my wife, I said, you know what, babe? I now realize that I do not have to try to impress anybody here in Japan or try to befriend anyone here in Japan if I don't know them. Now, I do want to say this, and you go through your different phases here in Japan. You're going to go through that moment where you get here, everything is fresh and new, and you're young, and you got people like giving away information left and right, and you're like, yeah, this is a beautiful place. They care about me, they love me, whatever the case may be. But the reality of it all is this: they are trying to get as much information from you as possible, because in Japan, information is the real power. Information is the real power. Now, but I still want, what I do want to add on to that though, is that I am never, because I've been living here long enough, going to talk bad about Japan or, say Japanese people are all bad or all good. Because to me, when I step out my house, the first person, if I see an individual, I don't think of them as Japanese first. First thing I think is, okay, is that a man or a woman? And do I know that person? Or are they here to deliver mail to my home or a service or anything of that nature? And the very last thing I think about is, oh, they're Japanese. Because each and every person in Japan is an individual. So I will never, and I know you will get to this point if you spend enough time in Japan. You should get to this point. If you're not, then that means you really haven't really started living in Japan, no matter how many years you've been here. But you have to get to that point to where each and every person here is an individual. So if Mr. Tanaka down the street doesn't want to say 2 words to you, like I have one of my neighbors, literally, I know 25, I belong to a neighborhood community, because that's how it is when you live in a house in Japan, in the small, medium, 180,000 person town like I do. People know each other. But communities are separated by 25 households. Basically, they all join together to make sure that the trash gets thrown out properly. Meaning you got to recycle your items properly. And if you're not, then they know who to go to, right? So you pretty much know everybody in each one of those houses, because you knock on the doors when you move in there and you meet them, right? But there's this one guy, he's not part of my association, but he lives right across from me in the newer homes. And his wife speaks to me. His son waves to me all the time. But he's never said anything to me. I tried to be friendly to him, and he never said anything to me. So we have that kind of understanding. So therefore, when I see him now, I don't say 2 words to him. He doesn't say 2 words to me. Now, am I going to say that all Japanese guys are bad? No. Because on the opposite spectrum, I have a lot of people in Japan that I know, and or that I affiliate with or associate with, and they talk nice to me, I talk nice to them. I have friends in Japan, of course, through my wife's family, and my wife is known, that treat me really well. So no, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to say that. And I recommend you do the same. I don't think it's fair for you to say, oh, you had one bad relationship with a Japanese woman, oh, they're all bad. No, that is so far from the truth. Everybody is unique. Everybody comes from a different perspective. Everybody's been raised differently. Okay, so now, let me get back to the information. Oh, there's a cute little kitty right there, but I can't get too close because I'm allergic to cats. Oh, I love cats, man. I had a cat for 10 years. Okay, so when you come up on the street, like I'm walking down now here in the middle of Takata here in my hometown, Georgia City, which I love. And if you can look behind me, there's a beautiful setting of, maybe you can't see it here, of the Takata station, which is a really nice train station, if you can see it a little bit. Yes, it's really nice. And so, and you just happen to be standing on the corner, or you go to a restaurant, or you go to a coffee shop, and someone wants to engage in conversation with you. Well, first let's start on the street. So like if you're walking on the street, and what I want to say here is people in my town are very friendly here in Georgia City. And we joke around with each other like when we see on the street. First thing you see, like especially because you see some older person, you say, oh, konnichiwa, konnichiwa, because people tend to say hi, especially not in this environment, but when they're in the neighborhoods, they really. When you walk in your neighborhood, you speak to people, and then they're gonna say, Japanese are always talking about the weather. Like today, it's raining, it's 24 degrees, it's really nice out to me. It feels good, the breeze is nice. Not as like 35 degrees yesterday. And the first thing out of my mouth was, oh, it's so hot. Oh, atsui ne. Oh, atsui desho. Oh, sugoi ne. Kyosuke kudasai. Right? So they're telling you that it's hot, be careful, things like that. And you said, oh, yeah, nice. Yes, and you say the same thing. And you just basically nod and agreeing. Oh, atsui desho. Man, everybody's nodding their head. And then, if there's an event, like we have an event going on, we're getting ready to have the Takata Festival here on the 26th. We started off a little, we got a pre-festival thing going on. There was fireworks last night. We're not going to be able to see it because we're going to be in Hokkaido. But anyway, so now on that street, people are going to be talking about the festival. Oh, are you going to go to the festival? Either yes or no. And then then here's what I'm getting about. Here's why I threw the Hokkaido thing out there. And here's how information works in Japan. When someone asks you, are you going to go to the festival? Then you're going to say, I'd like to go, yes, but I'm going to be a little busy. And that's it. Now, some people might push the thing and say, oh, really? Oh, is it to do with your job? They're going to try to get more information out of you that way. And you just say, you can just say, oh, I'm okay. You can dive with this. It's got you this. That's all you say is, I'm busy. I'm just going to be busy. And in a nice way. And that's it. You stop. And you start to say, oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Nice to see you. Please be careful. And you just move on. But if you're going to stand there and you're going to wait for them to ask you a question, they're going to get more information out of you. And information is the real power in Japan, I'm telling you. Because they are going to paint a picture of you. Now, when I first got here a year ago, more than a year ago, here in Georgia City, I had a tendency, and I still have up to almost this point, of giving away too much information. And my wife was always like, hey, you're giving away too much information. Like, for example, like we'd be in a restaurant and then they ask me what I do, and I tell them my situation, and then I'm next I'm talking about, yeah, we're gonna get a house built and all. I'm starting to give all this other information out. And that's not information that they need to know. And my wife is absolutely right. Because I want to tell you guys a little secret here. Did you know that in Japan, you do not really need the internet? information gets around in Japan really fast. Really fast. You know? It really does. It gets around here really quick. So you don't need the internet here. People talk. And I'm going to give you a little example. So our house is getting built right now. And I told you this on another video. And my name is plastered all on this big board next to the land where the house is getting built, next to the company who our builder is, right? So when they see me, they already know my name. Now, yeah, I did meet my neighbors. I did meet all the future neighbors, but other people walking by, they see my name. And now I have a gym membership here. I'm a member of the sports club here in Georgia City. And people know my name at the sports club. So guess what? Those same people, some of them will go up and walk up that because a lot of people they'll take their walks up there, up that hill, and the foothill where we're going to live, up to the first ski area. And they're going to see that name, and they're going to put two and two together, and then they're going to go back to the gym and they're going to tell all their other friends, and their friends are going to somehow get to me and say, "Hey, Barry, are you the same Barry? We saw Barry getting their house built." They know I'm the same Barry. They know it's me because there's no other Barry in the city but me and my kids. So they know it's me, right? So there you go. They already know that. Now that is information that I did not give them. That is information that they found on their own, okay? But they're going to talk about it. They're going to know about it. They're going to talk about it. And so in Japan, you have to always know where you are in the information realm. You have to know what's going on with your information constantly, because you need to know what people know about you. And you don't lie, because you start lying, those lies are going to come back. Now, I withhold this. There you go. Information. Now I start withholding even more now. Like Japanese people don't know my true situation here, because I don't tell them my true way of what's going on with me. Okay, because my wife is telling me that they would become very jealous. And it's true, because Japanese will get jealous, and that's why information also is very important here. So the Japanese will practice what they call selective information. And let me tell you what I mean here. So in Japan, even myself, everybody uses what we call tatemai honne. Tatemai means what you say to people that you come across on the outside. Okay, like people walking down the street, associates, people I deal with at the gym, places I frequent, business places, when I go, restaurants, whatever. You're using your tatemai. You're using your outside facial expressions and face or whatever. Demeanor. But hone means real, is what you do when you're back in your own private abode or amongst your friends and your family. Like I could be outside and I could be like at a restaurant and I could say, "Oh yeah, this tastes really nice," to the restaurant people. You always politely say, "Go to some of this style" when you're done eating. And then when I get back home, I say, "You know what? The fries was okay, but I didn't really like the potatoes. I didn't really like the meat. I thought the meat was kind of bland." You see, that's hone. Or you might say something else like, hey, I said hi to Mr. Nakamura today. Oh, but he's having some problems because, Nakamura-san's having some problems because we heard from such and such and such and such that he's having problems. You see how that is? See how the information gets around really easily? So that's what I'm saying. So you're using tatemai, and so when you get home, you use hone. So Japanese will do the same with you. Everybody in Japan does it. I could be walking down the street and see somebody I know from my son's soccer team, one of the parents, or somebody from a sports club, or somebody that works at a restaurant that I frequent. And I would ask them, "Oh, how are you?" And they're, "Oh, I'm fine, thank you." But that person may not really be fine. And either me too. But when you greet another person, you always come across just like you're fine. Because that is the way it works in Japan. And everybody knows how that works. So that's how it works, right? So now let me get back to how information gets moved around and how you can avoid, moving your information around, and how you can control your information. So, like I said, everybody in Joett's City wants to know about me. They see me walking around here, and then after a few times, they want to know, wow, this guy's always walking around. What does he do? That's the first thing on their mind, because Japanese are all about what you do, what's your occupation. They want to know what you do, because they can then put you in a box. Oh, he's a plumber, he's an electrician. Oh, he works for the city, or he's this, he's that. Oh, he's an English teacher. I mean, and another thing that people will do too, and this is how they used to get me up until now that I know how to handle this. They will come out and it's like one guy, I remember I was somewhere and the guy said, oh, are you an English teacher? And I said no, but then I told him what I was. And then next time, all I got to do is say, it's like, oh, no, thank you, please. So I never said I was an English teacher to him. I never gave him any information. I just said, oh, no, I'm okay. Thank you. And that's how you have to do it, because that person will then start to tell other people what I do. If I came out and said, hey, look, I am an English teacher, I do this, do that, then guess what? That person's starting to tell somebody else, oh, yeah, guess what? You see the black guy walking down the street all the time. Oh, I just found out he's an English teacher. Oh, then before you know it, 40 people know what my occupation is. Then next thing you know, they're going to come, maybe they're going to ask me something different. So in each moment, bits and pieces of information gets shared about me to everybody around the city. Okay? So that's something that you have to be really cognizant of. Another thing that you want to watch for is, hey, look, we're foreigners here, and, the women, they love us. I mean, it's not like it was in the 90s, but still, women are very curious, and you may come across a situation where you want to engage in an extra affair, whether you're married, a girlfriend, or whatever. Well, I highly recommend that you don't do it in your hometown, and I highly recommend that you don't do it in a highly populated or popular railway area. For example, I go to Tokyo a lot. I go to Osaka a lot. I travel by myself a lot. Periodically, I got friends coming in Japan, or I meet people. I just want to get out and explore, right? And so, of course, I'm not the kind of person that's going to go out there and do things, engage in affairs, because, that's just not something I choose to do. I'm in a good relationship, and you can still be in a good relationship and go out with extra affairs, but that's not what I choose to do. But you get those people out there who do. And so, but you also, like this town of Joett's City I'm in, I'm not the only one going to Tokyo. I'm not the only one going to Osaka. And you will find in Japan that people tend to show up in the weirdest places that you never imagined them to show up when you're there. Okay? So you have to be really careful of that. Of course, my advice, and it's another story, the best way to handle something like that is to just pay for whatever you want, extra services. Don't get an affair, because it's going to get found out if you're in the wrong thing. Because what happens in Japan is they will see you walking down the street and they'll say, oh my God, isn't that so-and-so and such's husband or father? Yes, it is. Ooh, and next you know, everybody knows. And they may not get back to your wife until it's too late, but trust me, everybody knows. So you, on top of that, as being part of information that people may know about you, you have to carry yourself well. You should never get into a fight or an altercation or whatever you want to call it when you're walking around your town, because everybody will know about it. And then you will start to go into businesses, and people will start to treat you differently. The image, the tatemae that you put on will no longer be a tatemae. They will, because they will know your home name. And you never want anybody in Japan to know your home name. Well, now the rain is out, so let me get under the rain here. And you never want anybody in Japan to know your home name. So that's why you have to be careful. Now look, this is cute. They got some sake out. This is nice, but I'm not going to drink sake because I'm driving. But so, that's a big part of that. Your image is, I can't stress this enough. Your image is very important in Japan, but information is the real power here, because once people know about you, the more questions they ask you and the more information you give up, the more power they have over you. Because now you can't just go into a place with that person and see them. Like, for example, let's say that you told a person one thing about yourself, or you told them so many things, and then you go into an environment and you want to kind of be on a down low, but that there's a person sitting there that you know that knows all about you. You want to feel comfortable when you're trying to be, you know, private, but this person knows all about you. It's very hard for you to get out of that situation. Okay, so that's why it's nice for you to, it's better for you to keep your information down. So myself, going forward, knowing all this now as I'm talking to you, and I've been feeling this, I just wanted to get it out here to you now, to the public, is that going forward, I no longer feel like I have to impress people in Japan, because quite honestly, I am not trying to be a Japanese. I am a Black American living in Japan, and I love being a Black American living in Japan. I don't want to be a Japanese. I don't like to use the word want, because one's just a request. I choose not to be a Japanese. Now, like I said before, I am living well in Japan. I love Japan. This is a beautiful country. I love living here, and I'm always going to love living here and want to live, be here. So, and that's what I'm saying. If you can control the information on you by giving away just selective information. And what I mean by selective information, somebody asked me where I'm from. Of course I'm going to say I'm an American, because I can see that you're Japanese. I know your nationality, so you should know mine, right? That's selective information, right? So once that I give out that selective information, that's information that I myself am controlling, okay? So no one can control. That's the thing you want to do, is don't allow anyone to control the type of information that you are going to give away. Okay? Always protect yourself. Always keep yourself as private as you can. Now, if you're the kind of person that wants your information thrown out there, fine. For example, I just gave you some information on my Hokkaido trip and a couple things about my son playing soccer. But that is information, that is what we call selective information. That is information that I wanted you to know about myself. That is okay. If you want to give out that information about yourself, then it's fine. But like I said, remember that it has to be something that you feel comfortable giving out. That's all I'm trying to say. So remember, in Japan, information is the real power. Japanese are very good at collecting information on you and the individual, and they have very good memories. And once you give that information out, you cannot get it back. It will not come back, because they already know about it. All right? So just remember that, and you will have a better life in Japan. All right? This is BSP in Japan. I will talk to you guys out. Remember, information is the real power.